Hi, Jack. This is Sylvia Alvarez. I was one of the participants in the Author Success Program that you and Steve Harrison and Patty were on. And I have to tell you that you were spot on with your recommendations. I have gone back and you said the first 48 pages, don't touch them, they're fine. Well, I have made the rest of the book. I've added about another 30 pages of more stories, more current stories, more anecdotes that are going to make the second part of the book even better than the first. So I'm looking forward to that. But as I was reviewing the video that of our session, you had said something that, and I'm reaching out to you to see if this is a possibility. But the time could not be better to write a book about immigrants, like you had mentioned. And this past Friday, I was honored here in Tampa. They had the National Convention of Mayors, and I got to meet a lot of the mayors that I see on television. And I was being honored for coming up for actually delivering 50,000 new homeowners, being a big part of that, with a national organization that I belong to called Unidos US. It's the largest Hispanic advocacy group in the country, with more than 300 um, members across the US, and all Spanish and other immigrants as well. So I've got the perfect plan, a perfect place that I can pull from to get these stories. And when I mentioned it to some of the higher ups that came down from DC to, drop this honor on me, they said they loved the idea. So if you would like to collaborate with me to get this thing done, I think it's a perfect time for this. It couldn't be a better time. I think we've got where we can draw from, and I'll do all the heavy lifting. You don't have to do anything. I'll do all the heavy lifting. You just tell me what to do. I think this is so badly needed right now. I'm sick every time I see one of these poor people being carted off who only came here to try to find a better life for their family, and we're treating them like criminals. So if this is an idea that resonates with you, please let me know, and would love to do this with you, because you lending your name and and your persona to this would only really help make the message that even that much more strong. So anyway, thank you, thank you, thank you. My book, It's Hard to Kill a Bougainvillea, is going to be a bestseller. There's no doubt in my mind. And it is going to be a movie. Although Patty liked Jennifer Lopez, I kind of think Salma Hayek would do a better job. Yeah. But hey, I'll take either one. Anyway, have a great day, my friend, and we'll talk soon. Bye bye.
Well, let's do this. Let's get so this is tremendous. Everything you shared. I know you've sent, me the book and you sent us the book, and Jack, you want to get some feedback from Jack, get his thoughts?
Absolutely.
All right.
Okay. Um, your book is the one I kind of hate getting because they're so good. I can't stop reading them. I don't really want to read the whole book before I give people feedback. Um, but yeah, the first 48 pages are amazing. They're so well written, they're so dramatic, they're so emotionally stimulating. It's just really good. It's like reading a great novel. And
Thank you.
then the hamburger stand story, or the story, but the one you just mentioned, also the story about the angel. But what happens, we get to where I'm getting these stories that are just so powerful day to day of what she's doing, and how she's surviving in the plantation, and how she escapes in New York, and how she gets the job, and it's all very detailed, amazing. Getting up in the morning and going there the first time, and all of a sudden making a shirt, and the guy gets excited about it, and so she's got the job, and then she gets promoted, and gets money, and gets her apartment, and then she meets Pepito, and then it moves too fast. All I can say is it needs more detail, some more stories, like the ones you just shared, if there are more.
Okay.
Um, like she all of a sudden she becomes this really good entrepreneur. She's running a company. How did that happen? The first 48 pages I wouldn't touch. And then I would say, starting in the page, go on from there. I just think it needs a little more detail. There are stories. There's the one at the border with the the
Nuns. Where she got handcuffed to a bus with nuns.
yeah, that's a great story too. But she's involved in a lot of different philanthropic causes,
Right.
and you kind of did the one with the nuns at the border. What made her decide, just like with the hamburgers, something was something, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to be part of that," or I'm going to or maybe there's stories in that. But I think it just all of a sudden goes down, not downhill bad, but just goes we go rushing toward the end faster than you need to. So you want to so the stories we just talked about, the hamburgers, the nuns, that does that. We see it. Okay. Um, so that's the only feedback I have really. You're a phenomenal writer. The
Mm.
first 48 pages I said is just like it's so it's such a powerful story and it's so well told. And the just you can't believe what they suffered through sleeping under that, stairway and the
I know.
dog and the amount of and her father and then watching her mother get, pour gasoline on herself and light herself up. And I knew about a little bit about history about Cuba, but reading about it in such detail about what was really being experienced by people, especially people that
Mhm.
were was insane. Um, so that's what I got for you, really. And
Okay.
you just mentioned the garage sale. I think that kind of thing. Lots of anecdotes that go through, but not running it so fast, so big. Does that make any sense at all?
No, it does. And I know it's kind of light. And I think in part, Jack, it was because this was a very painful book to write.
Mhm.
I wrote it through tears. It took 4 years to do it. And so I would work on it and put it down. And really the comment that you made about rushing through to the back end, I think that's where I was. The second half was just not as much detail as the first. And I'm sure that I can come up with a few more details to put in that second part.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, because you have the ability to do it. I was wondering, do you have enough information? Obviously, she shared her childhood story with you, which was very dramatic. And then you were living your life and she was living her life, later years there, how much detail you have. But the point being, that would really make the book better. And also, I think the book needs to be a little longer to be a book, so it's not
mhm.
just a thing. But I I'm telling you that first 48 pages is like I thought I was reading like a best-selling novelist novel, it's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a labor of love for me, to be honest with you. And I just want people to know her and know what she did. And I think a story about immigrants right now is so important
Yeah, I
because
agree.
we have been villainized and I think every one of us that's here, we all have stories of somebody in our past that had to sacrifice so that we can have here. We can all be here and realize how lucky we are.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
anyway, I appreciate that. And thank you so much for those kind words. It really means a lot, especially
Well,
coming from you.
well, thank you for the story. I really totally enjoyed reading about your mother. And not everyone has a gift to be able to describe circumstances the way you do. And you have it. So just, employ it a little more toward the end, and I think you have a wonderful book that could be a movie. I do think it could. It's so powerful.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So just got to put some more meat on the table in there.
Yeah, yeah, a little meat
Meat
on
and
the
potatoes.
bone.
So
The Patty, what were your thoughts?
Sylvia, I thought it was great, and I love. I could see Jennifer Lopez playing your mom. I mean, she'd be perfect for it.
I was just thinking, based on what Sylvia's last paragraph was, as she just spoke, a great book that you might want to be part of or create or collaborate to create or whatever would be a chicken soup type book. You say, how did you get here? Or how did we get here? Or
oh, I
whatever.
like that.
Something
Yeah.
like that, where you, get immigrants from lots of different countries
I
uh,
love that.
to tell their story. And it can be a more condensed version, like
Right.
12 pages, 15, 20 pages max, kind of depending on how many people you have in the book. I think, I remember when we wrote Chicken Soup for the African American Soul, and I was surprised. And I taught in an all-black school. I dated a black woman for a couple of years, so that was I was very comfortable in that world. And the reality was, when we decided to do the book with Lisa Nichols, how many people came forward and finally said, "Finally, a book about us."
Wow.
And I think there's a similar thing going on right now, given what's going on, as you said, that a lot of people have lumped immigrants. I mean, the truth is, everyone here is an immigrant except Native Americans.
Right. Yep.
And the reality is, if you can get people, and you could do it in sections. You could have Cuban immigrants could be one book, Mexican American could be another one, African American, whatever. But I think that the reality is there's a need for that, and a certainly a potential market for that. And if you did one that was mostly Cuba and Mexico, for example, given where you are in Florida, it could be easily translated into Spanish. So you'd have two different areas where you could market the book in both English and Spanish. So anyway, I think that'd be an interesting project.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. How did you get here? That's a great
Great title.
great idea.